On a normal day like any other, Paula started putting all her clothes in her suitcase. At the time her husband comes in and without understanding asks what is going on, she turns to him and replies, "I'm tired, I'm going to leave this poor house." Husband asks, "But where are you going? And our son Christian, didn't you think about him?" She replies that she needs to enjoy life, and since he always says he's a good father, he can take care of the child. He then understands what she meant by that and says, "Are you saying that our baby interferes with your life? He is just a child." Paula, hinting that she is, replies, "If he doesn't get in the way, keep him then, and what's more, Raphael is already waiting for me outside." The husband asks who that is, and she says it's Raphael, who lives around the corner, and says they're going to leave together. Once again, he asks how she has the courage to leave her son alone, but before leaving she says in an ironic tone that he will not be alone but with his great father. David pulls Paula away and says he doesn't recognize her anymore, but she says, "I don't care if you recognize me or not, I just want to get out of this filthy house, I deserve much better." After that she leaves to find Raphael and leaves David crying. When they meet outside the house, Raphael asks why the delay, and in a hurry to leave she explains that David was not letting her leave in peace. Inside the house, David, who is playing with the baby, is worried about how things will turn out, but assures the child that he will take good care of him. 7 years later, the girl who picks up Christian from school arrives. David answers and greets her while hugging her son and asking how he was at school. The girl says that she has nothing but praise to say about that child. He behaved very well and is polite, he likes painting a lot. The father congratulates his son and the girl tells Christian to ask his father to buy some paint for him. The boy liked the idea and asked right away, but the father explained that he doesn't know if it will be possible because he had to pay the rent, but promises that next month he will save money to buy the paints. The girl says goodbye to them and leaves. After that, the two go in, and when the boy asks what he's going to have for lunch, the worried father says, "There's no money left to buy the month, but here's some instant noodles and you can prepare it with me." Trying to cheer the boy up, David starts going through step by step how to prepare instant noodles. The boy says he likes it, but despite seeing that his son is not sad, David is, because he is eating better things to grow healthy, so he promises that he will find a way to do it the next day. At that time, they hear someone calling at the door, and David goes to see who it is. Before arriving at the door, Paula opened it and entered. He indignantly asked what she was doing there. She replied, "I came because of my son." He laughs at the situation and ironically asks if she's making a joke. "Your son? You lost the right to be his mother when you left with that boy, and you know that Christian's custody is mine and not yours." Paula contradicts and says, "Who will decide? That is the judge and not you. I want my son." And he replies, "Now it's easy, right? You come and say you're going to steal him from me. When he disappeared 7 years ago, you didn't think about that, did you?" She says she doesn't care and that the child will be hers. At that time, Christian arrives asking his father what is going on, and David changes the subject, calling him to get out of there, saying that it is nothing. Paula says to himself that it will not stay like that and that he will get his son back. After she leaves, they go back to the kitchen. A few days later, in court, David starts saying, "I've been taking care of him for 7 years, which is when his mother abandoned us. We were homeless at the time, but I never let anything go. Now she wants to take him from me, since she abandoned him when he was only 3 months old. That's not fair." Paula takes the floor to defend herself and says, "In my defense, I am his real mother and not the woman who is married to David. She does not have to raise my son, I am the one who has to. Moreover, I regret the I did. I'm back here. David's wife must not be a good mother to Christian, he has to stay with me, he's my son." After the Deos gave their testimonies, it was the judge's turn. "Now that I've heard both parties, I already have the final result. According to the law, the biological mother has every right to keep the child. After the judge's decree, Paula was very happy, looking at David who was crying and said he was going to get his son. As soon as Paula leaves, the judge says to David, "David, I'm sorry, the law will always favor the mother, but never forget that a son will never forget a father's love." After he arrives home, David has a conversation with his son. "I have some not very good news to tell you. Unfortunately, you will have to live with your mother." The sad boy replies that he doesn't want to stay with his mother, but his father explains that unfortunately that's what will have to happen and advises, "You need to respect her just like you always respected me. Remember on your first day of school that I ask you to respect the teacher? It's going to be the same thing now, okay?" The boy resists and replies that he doesn't want to go. At the time Paula arrives, and David introduces her to his son, promising him that he will do everything to reverse this situation. The boy asks, "Father, do you swear that you will fight for me?" And he replies, "Of course son, you are everything to me, but now you need to go, I'll take you to the door." They walk along, and when they get outside, Paula pulls the boy to her side and says, "Okay, now enough of this nonsense, you're not even his real father." The two are not understanding and ask how David could not be the boy's father. David, seeing that his son was worried, explains, "Son, even though I'm not your biological father, I'm your father from the heart. I've always treated you with great affection, love, care, and I'll always love you, okay?" The emotional boy replies, "Dad, to me you are the best, of course you are my dad." Paula, already out of patience, calls the boy to leave soon, but David keeps telling Christian that he will always be his son. The two embrace and Paula pulls him away. Alone, David begins to cry and asks God to take care of his son.